Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 9. Barry Johnson here, sitting with Governor of Swatland, Ed, Savage Scientist. All right, so today, and I kind of talked to Ed about this, we're going to go over, just at first, I want to talk about dual SIM. I literally got texted and DM'd from about 6 different YouTubers this week asking very specific questions about uh, dual sim. So I'll just talk about some of the implementations that are available and how we can save money. And then we're going to start talking about some other stuff. So I'm just going to start putting up your comments real quick. And we do notice the echo. I think we just solved it. StreamYard has been playing a lot of games with us lately. So we'll get that taken care of. So it looks like everybody's greeting each other, which is awesome. And we're so thankful to be here. I was just told Savage, I noticed at 12:30, and I have been in and out of my StreamYard link trying to set some stuff up, and it was unlisted this whole time. So, if we're looking for the stream, you probably saw it like 30 minutes before we went live. So yeah, so I wanted to get real quick on eSIM and dual SIM. So a lot of some people have heard me kind of say this over the past couple of months, how it can affect you or help you. So let me just kind of show you real quick. I'm just going to show you a screenshot from my phone real quick. All right. So give me just 1 second to share. If I have trouble, I'll just pick up my phone, take a photo, and show it to the actual screen here. All right. So can everybody see this? Hopefully, since you guys are all on mic, you can just, shout out, but let me know in the chat. But this is my phone. So note real quick, LaShawn, this is my Pixel 5 screen. You probably noticed by the settings, right? But if everybody looks, it says there's a SIM here called Spectrum. Hey, Savage, can you turn down your setup? We're getting echo. So we have Spectrum here, and then we have Mint Mobile. That's on the actual eSIM. All right. So what I want to point out is Mint Mobile just went live. There was a beta for Pixel owners that you can get in, but it was only available for iPhone to enable eSIM. And why am I showing all this? My Spectrum plan cost me $14 a month. That's for 1 gig, and that's all I use. I primarily use my Pixel for all my phone calls and all my text messages. But there's times where I want to have more data. Well, Mint Mobile can cost you as little as $15 a month for 4 gigs of data. You could probably even still pay $15 a month for almost unlimited data if you get referrals, and it's really easy to do. So the thing that I wanted to point out with eSIM that I point out to everyone is you can designate either or. So I could say I want Mint Mobile to be used for all my calls, all my SMSs. I want Spectrum to be used for my data. You can change that on the fly. And also you can still get calls. So let's say, for instance, if you're not on an active call and my default is Spectrum for calls and data, someone can still ring my Mint Mobile line and it'll ring and I'll actually use it. Does that make sense, Savage? Like the stuff that I'm kind of saying to make. So the way it works, it's a technology called dual SIM dual standby. And that just means the radios are on standby. They can't be used at the same time. But if you're not in a call, you'll actually have a situation where both phones can be called. If you're on your Spectrum call and someone calls you on Mint Mobile, it will roll to that voicemail. The one cool thing though that I always try to point out, let's say for instance I go somewhere, because I use Spectrum because I get calls on routes that I go, calls are always available. They don't drop. But let's say, for instance, I'm using Mint Mobile for data and I'm in a place where Spectrum doesn't get calls. My phone will say Spectrum using cellular data for calls, meaning it's going to use the Mint Mobile for calls if I'm not on a Wi-Fi network. So it gives you even more flexibility. So feel free to DM me. The reason why I'm bringing this up, I'm getting literally contacted by YouTubers all the time because they're like, "How do you pay so little? You said you pay like less than $100 or seven phone lines." So that's kind of the reason why I brought that up. So I'll stop sharing here. So if anyone has any questions, ask in the chat. I'm gonna start pulling up some of your. Hello, Miss Full Roller. Thanks for coming. Got Shay in the building. We got Gigi and the Holla at Your Boy. We know we got Jason C.
Hey, the reason why I'm not using my ring light because that's in the other room because I just did a video. So I got another ring light that I'm gonna be installing in here. And once I get done with my nano leaf project, I'm gonna be replacing that some lights, and so those lights are gonna be available that afterwards. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with them.
Okay.
But you're gonna see that whenever I do unveil my nano leaves. I'm still probably about 30 short of my mission. It's gonna be nice when I'm done with it. Hopefully it's gonna be nice.
So real
But
quick,
if y'all can't
just
notice
wanna,
it, then it'll be real good.
I just want to say this because Tech Baller asked, do I have dual SIMs or eSIM? So I have dual SIM in the sense that I have one physical SIM and I have one eSIM. The way eSIM works, you can download multiple, but you can only use one at a time. So I could have my Mint Mobile eSIM. I could go fly to the UK tomorrow, get an eSIM from that has better rates over there for the time that I'm there. There's also an international eSIM called Dent. You can buy like for $10, you can buy 1 gig. It's really on AT&T servers in the US, but you get 1 gig a year. So if you just need something for email checking or whatever, $10 for the year. But they have other plans. So that's what I have. But since we're talking about YouTube setup, we'll go into some more of that stuff and definitely in the chat. But I wanted to let Miss Full Roller know that I'm working on a video now, but I've installed MX Linux on the Raspberry Pi. So I've installed MX Linux. I've installed Twister OS. Twister OS is, and I'll do that real quick. I'll do that one more time as Full Roller. So Twister OS has, like when I showed Raspberry Pi or RetroPie, the old games, Twister OS has like pretty much all of the desktop features that you would start a computer with, but it has all the retro gamings installed. It has all the new type of gamings, so there's a lot of stuff that you can do with Twister. So I'm working on a video with that. And I also have all the stuff. I haven't installed it yet, but I'm going to start working on the streaming. So there's a product called Logitech Media Server that was part of the old Squeeze box, which was a high quality streamer, like lossless audio codecs. And you have access to that on the Pi, and they've got a Pi Squeeze player. So you can have your Pi set up around any room in the house, and anywhere you have a receiver, you can use that. You can use your phone, but you can also set up other Raspberry Pis if you want with high quality DACs if you're an audiophile. You have to turn down, I think, because it's starting to get the echo again.
I see what happened.
So Miss Fuller, what I'm going to be doing tonight is installing OBS on MX Linux. So I think, let me just make sure. Do you go, Miss Fuller, are you going OBS directly to YouTube. I think that's how you do it. Sup, Chris? Okay, so I've got a couple of questions regarding eSIM. So let me explain eSIM again. I'm just going to pull up the stream real quick. So dual SIM would mean that you have two physical SIM slots. So let's say, for instance, you have AT&T as a service, you have Verizon as a service. You have one work phone, one personal phone. Instead of carrying two phones, you can have it all in one phone. So that's what dual SIM means, Miss Full Roller. What I have is the ability of having multiple SIMs, but my phone is a Pixel. It only has one physical SIM slot, but it has multiple what's called electronic SIMs. So electronic SIMs take place of the physical SIM, and all it is it's showing the provider that you're licensed to use there as you paid your bill. This is the service quality that you're going to get from this. So the reason why I mention it and other YouTubers contact me is because if they are paying $90 to T-Mobile or Verizon for one line, they'll hit me up and go, well, I try to switch to this one carrier, let's say, that was cheaper. It didn't have domestic roaming. So I was dropping calls because of the domestic roaming. How can you help me? Because I don't want to spend that much money. And I usually always direct that person to an eSIM, dual SIM scenario where I get their calls covered and then I get their data covered with something else, and they're still saving at least $50. It might not be as cheap if they just went the standard just mobile route or standard visible route, but a combination of the two, they usually can make it happen. Oh, good question. So actually, I'm gonna get to you, MC Locks in Life, but do you think it's more secure to have a physical SIM or an eSIM? So here's the thing: an eSIM allows you to do this. If you lose your phone, you can contact the company and say, "Hey, I've lost my phone." And what they'll do once they validate it's you, they'll send you a QR code that you can scan in to your other phone. Okay, and the one cool thing about it, as soon as you initiate an eSIM, the way the systems work, your old SIM is done. So if someone took physical SIMs don't work quite as fast as that. So I personally think an eSIM is more secure than physical SIM, just because there's a little bit of a delay, and you see that all the time with the SIM swapping techniques before they can kind of cut that SIM down. But the eSIM is immediate. As soon as you send the request, your old SIM dies, and you'll even see it gone from your phone. So Cecil asked, can any phone from 2019 and up use eSIM? And the answer is no. Currently, eSIMs are available on all iPhones from 2019 and up, all Pixels, and Samsungs are big supporters of eSIM. They're just having issues with the carriers. The carriers are holding them back. Just real quick, just so in case I said it again, everybody say hello to Perspective Gaming and subscribe to his channel. Support our guy. And as I always say, everybody in here should be supported by everybody here. So okay, yes, cool. So this makes me feel better. So the thing that I noticed about MX Linux, Miss Full Roller, was I was having to jump through hoops on the actual browser to go into StreamYard. So I was like, well, I don't even think I have to do StreamYard because I think she goes OBS straight to YouTube. So I'll work on the OBS thing and then I'll make a video of it. So what's up, Chris? How are you doing? Our other Chris and Galen's Gadgets. Good afternoon. So that is eSIM. If anyone has any other questions, I'm more than happy to talk about it. But I'm just looking at a perspective of If Mint Mobile didn't work for you, or Visible, like there are places, believe it or not, that Visible doesn't work on the incoming calls. Outgoing calls are fine, but the incoming calls are uh, people have issues with them, so they have to pick up another line, and Mint Mobile might not work for them, so they might need a combo. So we're talking a little bit about, and I'll go back. We're talking a little bit about YouTube setup, and you were asked about your ring light. So did you want to talk at all, Savage, on what you're planning on doing? Because we do have some people that aren't familiar with you in the chat. So let me go ahead and
Oh,
make you
yeah, yeah.
big.
I see.
Swarthy.
TNT Chris and Gaylord's Gadget.
Okay.
I
All right.
think
So
those
real
are
quick.
who I haven't seen.
All right, here we go. So, will eSIM eventually replace physical SIM, in your opinion? The answer, Jason, is absolutely 100% no. The reason being, um, when Gigi says, "Hey, get Mint Mobile. Here's my referral code," and you pay for Mint Mobile, they'll send you a SIM for free. When you go into T-Mobile, what do? They charge you what they call an activation fee, or now it's called a SIM fee. That's just easy money in their pocket,
Mm-hmm.
where they can't do that with an eSIM. What's going on, Swarthy?
Hey, so what
Okay.
I was wondering is, you know like whenever you have a GSM phone from
Mhm.
Sprint and you have to put all those numbers in, I'm
Mhm.
guessing that's kind of how eSIMs work.
Yes. Yeah. So eSIM, all a SIM card is it is your license, so to speak. It's your like physical license to use that carrier service.
Mm-hmm.
So when you buy a phone from a carrier, the only way that carrier, like they program it that it accepts T-Mobile, but the only way it knows who you are and that you have a certain plan and all that stuff is through that SIM card. So the eSIM is just electronic numbers that basically says, okay, Savage Scientist paid for blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And they can pull all your information up just by that SIM.
And that's
Um,
why it's harder to get a SIM card than it is to get
yeah.
a phone.
Yeah. So let me just answer Miss Full Roller. Miss Full Roller, the answer is no. A lot of the non-flagship phones, and I'm going to talk about this probably next week on this channel too. Even though we have a lot of coding, but it's still I can make it into coding programming. There are inexpensive phones that have dual SIM. They might not have a physical SIM and an eSIM. That's a function of more of the flagship devices, but they'll have dual SIMs. And that's still beneficial. You might need two physical SIMs, and those are always easier to get. Not everybody supports eSIM now.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a $200 phone that has two physical SIM slots. And that was a $200 phone 2 years ago. I'm sure you can pick it up for like $100 or 150 now.
Now I do know that most international phones have dual SIM,
Yeah,
but not.
most international phones have dual SIM, and what I normally get, the international phones that I get. So you're going to be, if you pick up the international phone with the what they call the global ROM, is um, you'll have a situation where it only supports AT&T and T-Mobile, which, hey, that's fine. That's good enough. So the issue that they're having, Tech Valor, is the normal CEO boardroom type of uh, issue. So Apple basically can do whatever they want with the carriers. If the carrier comes to an Apple and says to Tim Cook or Steve Jobs, if they go, "Hey, we want to install this software on your device," Apple laughs. They've always laughed. They're like, "You guys need us more than we need you. You're not installing anything, so we're going to do whatever we want." So Google had eSIM for years, and the carriers wouldn't let them on. The way they got on was Apple started doing eSIM, and the carriers couldn't stop Apple. Apple's just like, "Hey, you're going to turn this on. This is what we're doing." So Google was able to piggyback on that. Samsung just hasn't fought hard enough yet, because it's not been a big punch or push from their US users that they need eSIM. once the US users kind of act more like the Pixel people, you'll see a change.
Yeah, I was looking at this comment by Chris saying something about physical SIM cards and GSM in general should be the norm all over the world.
Yeah,
You know, he's
yeah,
just saying that you know a lot of this GSM stuff is based on the legacy carriers like Verizon. They they all, I'm not gonna say they developed CDMA, but it's just that since their system is based on CDMA and also Sprint, then they're gonna continue using this technology. And because at one time, just like Betamax and VHS was competing, it was a big competition between CDMA and GSM back around 19, I think that was what, 99 or 2000. Once 4G, I mean, once you started to add data into the picture, that's whenever, you know, whenever you really started to see a difference.
yeah. So yeah, CDMA was supposed to be dead from Verizon starting this year, but they extended it. They've all kind of extended it for another couple of years. They're just waiting for legacy phones that are on their network to die off without having to force their customers, like some of the rural customers, to upgrade. But CDMA is pretty much dead. So like that's we've been saving a lot of money with Visible, which is a wholly owned um, uh, subsidiary of Verizon. But they have been LTE only ever since launch. And that was a proving ground for Verizon to prove that they were ready to allow people on their network as an LTE only device. And you can actually purchase some devices at Verizon as LTE only. And they'll put in there, this is LTE only, doesn't have a CDMA fallback.
Yeah, and I know Verizon phones used to be the only ones with SIM card slots. They had all that CDMA with I think they had CDMA antennas and GSM antennas.
Yeah. And see, Miss Fruitwiller made a point, and that's the reason why I wanted to bring it up. I was like, Savage, I know what we normally do in the course of the show, but I like I said, I get a lot of questions from YouTubers all the time, and this week was just really heavy. It was just like, man, you know, I'm this is killing me. Like keeping up with all these lines and paying this amount of money and all that. How can I save money? I heard you talking about Esim. There's something I can do with my particular, and basically I was like, hey, well, this is something that we could probably do on the channel, because people want, at the end of the day, it's these devices are cool, but let's save some money at the same time. So, hey, look what LaShawn said. Screw Verizon, they rate me for over 20.
Yeah, they even use the stock ticker symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you really want to go legacy, just call them Bell. What is it? Bell Atlantic.
Exactly.
You really gonna just like
Oh yeah.
AT&T is really SBC, and Bell Pacific is and Bell Pacific GTE. That's really out west. I forgot the
I
name.
literally just stopped sharing, but Swarthy, I just had up before you arrived. I can pull it up again, but I actually, so I think you know me and King Pixel, aka Holler at Your Boy, have Pixels, right? We are big supporters of Pixels, and let me. Is that the one? Okay. So this is my Pixel 5, and I have Spectrum Mobile. It's a $14 a month plan, and I have a $15 a month plan on Mint Mobile, and I use that for data on that phone. I have, through work, I have a T-Mobile unlimited plan. I use that phone constantly. That's my Mi 11. I use that constantly for data and all that stuff. Most of the phone calls are data based, but for my personal, that's what I rock with. And Mint Mobile has supported eSIM for the last 6 months, and Pixel went on beta about a month or two ago, and now it's been released to everybody. So if you have a Pixel, you can get it. Yeah. So in this configuration, if I were to just go straight Verizon, I would have uh, probably much more expensive calls, because actually this isn't a 4 gig plan, that's a 15 gig plan. I just pay that. I pay about $15 a month because of referrals and stuff like that. So you know about that part. Yeah. Money Mark.
So Galen's gadget just said he don't think T-Mobile is fully done converting the GSM.
Oh, here it
Yeah,
is. Here it is, Galen. So T-Mobile is fully converted. They might not have some of the Sprint towers in your area that are fully converted over, but T-Mobile's been GSM for years. Even when they bought Metro PCS,
like,
this is what's going on with you. And I had to do the same thing with LaShawn. So T-Mobile is not going to activate on the Xiaomi. LaShawn had hit me up because he had gotten a Xiaomi and he couldn't activate Mint Mobile. So we're like, just put in the Pixel. Pixel will activate it in 2 seconds and then stick it back in. So if you have like a device that is recognized as certified, if you will, so if you're by your brother, you can put in your Pixel phone, get it activated, slap it in the Xiaomi, you're good to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I
Money Mark in the
what's up, Mark? So, oh, look at that code that Swartha just posted in there.
Oh, she posted this. What is it? Oh yeah, if anyone wants Mint referral right here, Swarthy's got you. She's got you on lock.
Yeah, and she didn't just drop her fingers on the keyboard to type that.
No, that was it. Yeah.
Oh, she might have did.
Yeah.
Though.
So remember that, LaShawn? That was crazy. He at first LaShawn was like, "What's going on with my thing?" You know.
Mm-hmm.
So and my T-Mobile SIM was already activated from work, so I just stuck it in my Xiaomi and I was up and going. So
I just I took a university class on mobile security, security. So that's I know a little bit about how the towers work.
Yeah. So people don't know this. Sneed knows it, and like LaShawn knows it. Gigi, Tech Valor, Scoop, Mike. That's my job. We build test equipment. So some of the test equipment we do is for towers and stuff like that. So that's the reason why I always give Sneed so many compliments. He's a consumer who is a great educator, and he's really learned this stuff. So I always point people, hey, go to Sneed. Listen what he has to say. He really has a lot of good information, and he's a student of the game. So I just, I try to I just try it on the background. I'm not bringing that work home. What I can see is how I can help you guys save some money on this stuff, and you go to Sneed for that other stuff.
And I'm more on the security side of it, like how you could set up a fake.
Okay, here we go.
Station.
So right now, Swarthy, Mint doesn't support smartwatches, as well as, even though they do eSIM, they need to go, basically Ryan Reynolds, aka Deadpool, needs to go give T-Mobile, he needs to give them a little extra money, so they've got eSIM support, and that's a prerequisite for the watches, but they don't have it set up yet. So that's going to be the next thing.
And I think that they're going to eventually get it. Yeah, I mean, just take.
So I saw your text popped up on my screen, so I know what you're referring to. So I have laid on my dog, but I've never used him as a pillow long term. Put it that way.
And I don't have any pets. I like dogs. I mean, if I had a pet, then I probably want a snake. But I do like pets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to have to clean up behind them and do all the pet maintenance. After you have kids, then it's kind of like I'm done with it.
Hey, so it's worth it. We can. So my whole thing, I wanted to bring this up because like I said, if you all want to just talk about this, I will go the whole stream like that. Me and Savage can say what else we were talking about. So if you have a quirk, please talk about it. Oh, okay. So here's the thing. So everybody, T-Mobile actually had T-Mobile had a limit, a call limit. So when you were on a phone call with them, they actually had an algorithm that basically ran and said, okay, if this phone call's duration has lasted 2.5 hours, it's really not a phone call anymore. This person probably forgot that they were on the phone, and they just looked at their user data. So they would drop the call at 2.5 hours. A lot of people would get these drop calls and go, "Man, I don't know why my phone dropped." Well, no, T-Mobile ended your call. That's what was going on. It was literally, it was 2.5 hour in duration. They were cutting it. You could have been on to a foreign country and you didn't forget, and we're going to help you out. So what ended up happening during the pandemic, most people, that the general public didn't know that was going on, but they found out because they're like, wait a second, I'm on with my parents checking on them, doing stuff, that I normally don't do. And I'm on the phone for a long time. Or like most people, they're on these conference calls, right? Because they're working at home and they were getting dropped. So I think T-Mobile extended theirs to 8, but hasn't passed it on to Mint Mobile. So that's another thing. Contact Mint Mobile. Hit up Vancity Records. That's his Twitter handle. Hit up Deadpool and just say, Deadpool, go to T-Mobile, extend this time, because people are using their phones for work. You got unlimited minutes, right? Why can't you use it unlimitedly, right?
And they
Gotta
also
make
had those long waits. Like if you call, like when I was working for the New York Department of Labor, I got reassigned to a different project starting Monday with IBM, so I'm happy about that. So
Can I
those
ask?
wait times could be.
Go ahead. Go. I want to ask him real quick.
So
So,
yeah,
Michael Pepper, you have T-Mobile for calling and text, and you have Visible for data, which is great, a great combo. What T-Mobile plan did you go with? If you're just using it for call and text. Yeah, it's going to be consistent. The 2.5 hours, it's a program, so you'll have to contact Mint and just get in line. They also have a really good Reddit. It's r-mint mobile, and you can post in there. They have really good support there, and use feedback. Hit them via Twitter.
What about those? Sometimes like this is a problem I had when I used to be on T-Mobile, and this was probably in the early, probably 2011, 12. When you're on the phone, and then you're like, especially with these Samsung phones, you just hear this beeping noise. It's like consistently, probably every 30 minutes, you'll hear a little beep in the phone. When I used to call the T-Mobile reps, they used to come up with a different excuse for it forever. And I was just wondering, was that them the phone actually I mean, I guess it's probably some kind of programming error where the phone would actually make this sound while it's switching between towers.
Oh yeah, that's a phone error. Yeah, that can
Mm-hmm.
happen.
And that's since been gone.
So Chris, if you don't mind, you don't have to tell us your exact location, but what city you live in. So the thing that I always tell, like to give you an example, there's a guy that comes through. His name is Big Mosley. Same with Big House Productions. Here's Big House Productions. Speak of the devil. So Mint Mobile is clutch in Orlando, Florida, Jacksonville, clutch. In certain cases, when you have a lot of people on the network, what happens is T-Mobile prepaid in all of T-Mobile plans, like Magenta Max, they are all prioritized. The only plan that is garbage is the Essentials plan. It's just like you're not really part of T-Mobile, like you're part of Metro or Mint Mobile. So it's lower priority on your data.
Mm-hmm.
And Big House, he can't use Mint Mobile because there's so much congestion. When a T-Mobile person is next to him, they're getting 50 megabits per second. He gets the short end of the stick. Whereas in Orlando, I'm like pulling down 5G. I I gotta work hard to get less than 100 megabits per second with Mint Mobile. You know, um, so Big Mosley, the same thing. So they have trial Sims TMT Chris that you can try, and if you decide that Mint Mobile's so cheap because of referrals. You can Swarthy put hers. I've got a referral. Gigi has one. So it's not just I get hooked up or Swarthy or whatever, you get $15, and then when you start giving your code out, so yeah. So Swarthy, what it is this: you haven't noticed it because in Florida, T-Mobile is really strong. When you are on a tower, okay, so when your phone, basically what happens, your phone camps to a tower, and it says, I am this, blah, blah, blah. One of the things that's given by your SIM is, hey, I am at this quality of service indication level. So Mint Mobile's is compared to the normal T-Mobile stuff is quality of service 7 versus quality of service 6. You won't notice it on calls, but if you happen to be around a whole bunch of T-Mobile people and you got the Mint Mobile and you're all running speed tests, they're going to have faster speeds. So it's usually a don't care if you're in a non-congestion zone. But once it gets to, there's a lot of people accessing that tower, that's when you're going to be deprioritized. So it's going to look and go, she's got Mint Mobile. Let's give her less data. I'm going to give the rest of my data to Michael Pepper. He's got the Magenta Max plan on. So,
and I guess, and that's probably the reason why these carriers, like they're gonna talk about how good of service. Oh, they'd be like, oh, you get the best of the top carriers without paying the price, but you are paying the price because
You
like
are,
that.
you are paying a price. Yeah, and that's the reason why I kind of mentioned what I do. Like, I actually had to prove to people, because there's ways to pull up the what you're receiving. Yeah, see, Mint is slow in his area. AT&T and Verizon rule here where he's at. And Big Mosley, T-Mobile kind of rules where he's at, but Mint slow because a lot of people have T-Mobile there. So it really, that's why we try to make sure that you are educated. So, like, to give you an example, Spectrum and Xfinity. So they're by the gig plan, and the unlimited plan is on Spectrum is like this as well because it's really only a 20 gig plan. Then they kind of lower your speed levels after that. But they get the same quality of service as Verizon. So most people don't know that. They just go, oh, should I trust that? Who's Spectrum? Blah, blah, blah. The companies know. That's part of the reason why they're like, the reason why they kind of do these deals is Verizon wants all the customers. And they know there's going to be a customer like me that's going to be savvy. How can I, save my money and get the same level of service? Or they're going to have people that like, I don't want to pay Verizon all this money. I'm going to try something else. Well, what better way to compete is to roll over Spectrum. So if you guys you have nothing to do, you can't sleep at one night, just do a playlist of Spectrum's commercials. And you'll see the first 30 or so, they go like this. Hey, come to Spectrum. We're better than T-Mobile and AT&T. You won't hear them mention Verizon because they're running Verizon's towers. Why would they mention the people they're buying the stuff from? They're in a non-compete with Verizon. So
yeah, that makes sense.
MC Locks and Life says, can you have 2 active numbers on a dual SIM phone? And the question or the answer is absolutely yes. So at any time, my Mint Mobile number, I don't give out because I don't use it. So I know if I get a phone call, it's a spam call. But if I were using it, like if I put in my business T-Mobile line on Esim, if I'm not using the phone, either line could ring. If I designated one line as primary, either line could ring. It just would mean when I go to make a call, that number would be used unless I switch to the other number. But when you are on a call, so let's say I'm on my business line, what will happen is the other call would run to voicemail. So there are phones. There's like one phone that was like that. It was a DTE. I think it was one of the Axons that had dual radios, but most of them don't because it's really the functionality that you get, the rare time that you're going to be like, oh, I need to answer both phones at the same time. That's not going to just carry 2 phones at that point.
Yeah.
No problem, Redbird. We appreciate you getting there. We're just trying to help people save some money here.
Just put up a good comment.
Oh,
man.
So can I just say this real quick, and we'll get to Swarthy. Metro's mirror really with Sprint really hurt here. Just canceled my Metro. Yeah, sorry about that, Big House. What happened? I don't know if you. So LB is a big T-Mobile guy, and he's had a lot of people ask him to switch over the years. And I think in the last year he might have been almost close, but he has so many numbers, and he's so glad that he stayed because in his area they just really made some changes. Unfortunately, the rollout, like Sneed, his rollout was quick. Like if you look at his videos, T-Mobile is just shooting up, in his area, but it seems like yours is going slow. So
Yeah, I think T-Mobile really invest in urban areas, and now
okay.
they trying to say that they are working out in rural areas, but really that's what 5G. They're just trying to say we're gonna just throw 5G out there, and that's supposed to make up for the lack of effort they put in 3G and 4G. Because
Mhm.
out about 40 miles to the north of Baton Rouge, if you have T-Mobile, it's gonna just cut off on you.
So can I get to Swarthy? Swarthy, before I go to Miss Fuller, can you um can you just tell me what type of phone that was? And as you do that, I just want to read through Miss Fuller's.
What up,
Okay.
Redbird?
Yeah. And that happens. Sometimes you have to pay for the Verizon. So just to give you example here, Miss Fuller, pretty much all over the state, I'm really happy with the data from T-Mobile. But for calls in Florida, if I want to go everywhere and I travel all over the place because of work, I always have a Verizon baseline. And that's why I have Spectrum now. I used to have all Verizon postpaid with an expensive bill. And then I was like, well, I just need the calls. I'll just switch them over to Spectrum.
And you also have these really shady carriers.
Hmm.
And I remember when I lived in Mississippi when I was going to school there, there's a company called Cellular South. I think they changed the name to C Spire now.
Hmm.
That's a big. They really just have the entire state of Mississippi as the jurisdiction.
Yep.
And if you live in Mississippi, you pretty much should have them. I mean, I'm thinking they really using Verizon towers, and it was the best thing to have. And I moved out of Mississippi back to Louisiana, and they charged me $700 for using AT&T towers, even though
Hmm.
they say unlimited roaming. I left them with a bill for $700. I took my number. I mean, I left them with my old phone number, and never paid the bill.
Okay. So real quick, this is kind of how carriers work. And lower it a little bit because we get that go. Um, this is how carriers work. Flip phones and um, foreign phones, um, they typically kind of frown upon. There are some certain brands that they're cool with, but let's say like a typical Huawei, um, if it's an older phone, they'll say, "Oh, well, it doesn't have voice over LTE, so we're protecting our customer." They'll shut it off. Flip phones are the same way. They typically like it unless it's and there's not that many recognized brands. I'll have to do some research. They typically like to sell you their own flip phone. So a lot of the unlocked ones are just like, we're going to treat it like it's a foreign phone. We're going to shut it down. If it's an unlocked Samsung and unlocked Apple, they're never going to shut it off. Put it that way. Yeah, sorry to kind of. But the one thing that they won't do too, like if it didn't have to be a flip phone, if you could do like a Motorola. So like I have a lot of um, older people I work with. I usually put them in cheap Motorola's. Um, so it's good performance. I can set it up to where they can use, like make it easy to use, and I can put a mint sim in there, and they're good to go. Okay, 3 lines. All right, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it worked at first. Yeah, that's kind of what they do. So to give you an example, this happened to Galen's Gadgets, and it also happened to Big House. Perfectly working phone, and for whatever reason, AT&T, I think it was both AT&T were like, oh, guess what? Hey, you're making all those calls and all those text messages. Guess what? You're not going to make one now. Contact us. And I'm not telling you like it was like, for crazy reason. It was just they looked and go, hey, we don't want this phone on our network. Click.
Yeah, and the thing is, whenever you're using these carriers, they have the right to do what they want with their networks.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, that we're kind of in that situation.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and we sold a lot of our rights. We gave a lot of our rights up back with this whole net neutrality thing,
Yes.
where they, that make it so they could look even deeper into our data, and they could
Mhm.
shut your phone off, or especially these ISPs. They could shut you down, but they could shut your stuff down or shut off your data just because you downloaded a movie. And
Exactly. And that's
and
the
that
thing. The
happened.
thing that I always, and this is not going to be a political discussion, but it's just I want people to be aware that at the end of the day, we are people, and a lot of times we have to be engaged because a company or an entity can make decisions that maybe would not be from a moral standpoint, but it's their prerogative because they're the ones that are writing the rules. You see what I'm saying? You would think from a moral standpoint, I purchased this phone, it's unlocked, you said it worked on your network, but you're cutting it off. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Tech Valor said the same thing happened to her Z Fold, you know. Um, and the thing is, they're the ones who write the check. So, and like I said, I'm not making a political discussion, but this just happened a couple of days ago in Georgia. So whether you're watching social media, seeing what the latest celebrity is doing, Georgia literally um, closed the doors of and passed a motion that basically said if you um, are in line to vote, someone can be prosecuted. So like if I say, oh man, Savage is voting. You know what, Savage? You know what? I got a sandwich here I'm going to give you and some water. If I go up to you and give you water and all that stuff, I could be arrested in Georgia starting at the next election.
And
And
you know, oh yeah.
what that is the powers that be have said, we're not going to play by the rules. We're going to make up the rules. And if you people don't, contact us, if you don't fight for your rights, if you don't contact the company, we'll impose different things. So this goes back to what I was talking about with Swarthy. 2.5 hours of talk time. You paid for unlimited minutes. You should be able to make a phone call, turn it on, and walk away. You might have a conference call that lasts 4 hours or 3 hours. You want to use your phone. It could be the best phone that you have in your house. And they're saying, oh, well, you're not using it 2.5 hours. You see what I'm saying? So that's why we have to be diligent. So, like to give you an example, for me, I've already decided I'm living in Florida. Next election, what am I going to do to make sure I help Georgians be able to exercise their vote? You see what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to. If the limitation is I have an 80-year-old woman that's waiting in line for 6 hours and she can't get food, well, guess what? I'll prepare her so much that she won't need food. She'll probably be like, man, if you bring me food and water over here, I think I'll be sick to my stomach. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cast this vote. So that's kind of what we have to do as people. Make sure we ensure our rights and our actions and our ability to use the stuff that we purchase. And that's what I hope that Savage and I kind of do. Like at the, when you pull back the layer, me and Savage could literally be like, okay, all right, so let's talk about the print statement here. And let's look at, we got an OR here. We could do that every single week. But what we want to do is take the knowledge that we have coming from a engineering scientist background and empowering everybody with stuff that they can use on their daily.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, yep. Yeah. One day it worked on Visible, and the next week it didn't. Yep. And that was literally Visible checking their. Oh, she's not supposed to be using this phone. Click. So, no, hey, no problem, Gigi. Just appreciate you. So, are there any questions? And hey, we've got about 10 minutes. Anything you wanted to mention? I know we talked. So Savage and I was like, I want to talk 10 minutes about Esim, then we'll get into your stuff. So I apologize, everybody. I was like,
Well, really, when we were talking, I was just like, we're gonna just let the conversation flow,
flow, yeah.
and that's mostly all it is, because I normally don't talk about phones a lot.
Yeah,
I'm more of
yeah.
a consumer when it comes to
Yeah,
this stuff.
and the reason, and I typically, we don't talk a lot about phones, but it was just, I was getting so many questions. I was like, people may, and you see Michael Pepper, he just activated dual SIM on his iPhone. He's got eSIM and for Visible, and his physical SIM is T-Mobile. So little things like that. And the reason why he said he did it was he wants to make sure that wherever he goes, he can make a call. Wherever he goes, he has data.
Yeah.
Hey, so it looks like Gigi, Tay, and Catwoman are going on vacation. Man, that's
Right.
no fair. Yes, thank you, Miss Full Roller. Thank you. Exactly. That
Yeah, and
was
about the political thing, going back to this, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. Is that you know, no matter which way you vote, you have to vote in accordance to your beliefs. And a lot of these parties, they're not out for my vote, your vote, or they supporters vote. They out for their own selfish agenda. So
exactly.
it really becomes a thing where they use tactics like voter ID,
Mm-hmm.
all this giving gifts in a voting line and all this stuff is a way to discourage certain voters from getting in line.
Exactly. And that's the
And
thing.
and
And
it's
go ahead.
mostly
I'm
the
gonna let you.
black voters. It's mostly I don't want to get this political, but to
Yeah.
be honest, a lot of these people are jealous that Trump did not win the election. So that's why they trying to come up with all these different things. And if Trump would have been a great president, he would have got elected.
And so here's the thing. I think most people know how I get down, but the thing is, whether you agree with what Savage and I are saying, if you go away from power of the people, what ends up happening is when someone is getting wrongs done to them, like a group, they're not getting their just due, they're not getting justice. What ends up happening, the powers that be, after they, like a virus, get rid of that group, they go, oh, hey, we can get rid of them too. It's going to be a caste system. So the thing is, we have to remember that we literally have to make sure we are about power of the people. And that's the reason why I said I'm committed. I'm gonna make sure I'll be in touch with LaShawn. What do you need me to do? I'm gonna reach out to other people in Georgia, and I'm gonna make sure that they're ready next time. We'll make sure those people have my. And guess what? I'm even willing to go as far as, let's say, for instance, there was someone that is like on temporary release. Oh, okay. Well, we do have one person that just can't make it. They didn't drink enough or something like that in the line. Would you be? Oh yeah, I'm going back. I'm going back inside next. Oh yeah, you do it. Take. Oh yeah. Oh cool. I was going back in anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we're not going to let this stop us. Oh, cool, Spectac. Oh, so real quick, Spectac, what do you want? What are you going to be doing if you're, just so I remember? That way because I'm actually in the process of doing 3 videos. And I'll make sure I'll have a drive. So yeah, if it's retro gaming, all that stuff, I already got a video out. If there are any questions about, let me know. We don't look at what they really mean. Correct. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I set up my first one, and then I'll put Petro on one. Okay. Okay, so I guess that means you just set up as a desktop, and then you'll put. So I already have a video on RetroPie. So if you need any, or reach out to me if you need any help with it. So, but yeah, so yeah, so that's kind of what we had. Are there any questions in the last 4 minutes? Oh yeah, spectacular! It is unbelievable. Like literally, I, I'm just gonna apologize in advance. Y'all are gonna see a lot of Raspberry Pi videos because I'm shaking my head. Like there's stuff that I think about. And I'm like, man, it'd be cool if I can do this. And there's people that not only have already done it, they have done it like 50 or 20 different ways. So I've got a lot of videos coming out on the Pi.
Better, you could do a lot with the Raspberry Pi. I
Oh
mean,
my goodness, it's crazy. So I think D Mims got his set up. He was so excited he didn't want to even wait to like he watched the first video, but he was like, let's hook up the retro Pi right now. So I and Scoot were backstage one day and he was setting it up, with us. Okay, cool. Yep, I'll definitely. Yep. So I got you with the MX Lex.
and I
Yes,
challenge anybody.
yes, I'll do that. I'll do that.
And I'm challenging
Okay.
anybody who want to play some retro games.
Oh yeah.
Let's see if
So
we can take.
so what we can do too, when we get everything set up, um, I'll announce a challenge for, you pick the retro game and we can make a tech creators challenge on who gets the highest score or whatever. What do you think it should be, Sam?
Yeah, I would say, I don't know if you're familiar with back in 1990, Nintendo had this thing called the Power Fest or Nintendo Fest where
Mm-hmm.
they were playing 3 games and you have, I mean, they all were individually played games, but they were based on the scores.
Mm-hmm.
So really, we all could play the same game, and whoever got the highest score after a minute or something, they'll
Okay.
be.
All right, we can do that. We can do that. You know what? So I want everybody to install at least one SD card with RetroPie that just boots directly into, and you can put in your entertainment system or whatever. But I also want us to do one OS because if I'll try to set up one OS where we could even like do a StreamYard where we launch RetroPie, but we feed it to like StreamYard. You see what I'm saying? So we're all kind of playing together. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think, and I don't think no one did any type of challenge like this on YouTube.
I don't think so. Yeah, we'll let's
I think,
yeah, let's
I think if we get this rolling, I'm telling you, I mean, this is
I think
gonna.
it'll be fun. I think it'll be
We
fun.
have
I
to get
think
the
it's
moderators.
exactly.
We have to get
Oh
the
yeah,
pros.
speaking
Pro.
that's right. And you know what's
This
funny?
type of stuff gonna
You
take
just
off.
reminded me. I meant to say something to her a couple of days ago. I set up Nightbot, but you guys have never seen Nightbot on this channel. So I need to go back in and see what did I set up. Did I set up Nightbot to I mean, it's like he doesn't even make an appearance on my stream. And what made me remember it was um Tech Valor didn't have Nightbot on her channel when Gigi and her streamed at the same time. So I was like, I did something with my settings. So all right,
Yeah,
cool. Watch been sitting in California since. Oh wow. Oh, so Gigi, did you have a was it
GT
you or Tech Valor? Did you have a package that said it was delivered, but it hadn't been delivered yet? Because that happened to Big House. Yeah, Savage is your mod on this channel, right?
let me see. I think I
You
am.
should
Yeah.
be. Yeah, you should be.
Hmm.
And I need to go. Let's see.
Miss Full Roller said, yeah,
Wait a
right there.
second.
Gotta
Wait a
get the
second. Do I have to? Hey,
paid
Captain,
version.
I didn't think I had to pay for Nightbot. Maybe I do. My fault. Thanks, Miss Full Roller. Oh, her package was delivered to her neighbor, so I need to tell Big House that. Thank you. That's right.
Yeah, let me put a note. Another thing I
Okay,
be doing,
so
I be
Swarthy had it. Her SE was supposed to deliver 4 days ago. Huh. Man, this is getting common. Oh, okay. That's probably what it is. I think I got everything set up, GG, and I even got to that part, and I think I probably got a call because I remember that, but I don't think he's a mod. I think all of you guys are. Yes. Well, he's late because of his owner, LaShawn. Oh, that's hilarious. I'm pretty sure he's not a like Gigi, you're a mod here, right? If not, I'll make sure. Yeah, yeah, big house. Yeah, I knew there were several people that went through the same thing. Yes, it's coming from Texas. The same thing happened. Big House is looking for something for Texas, and Big House knows I'm dying to know what he got. I think I have a better inkling than other people. But it's killing me. I'm just like, this thing should have been here so I can find out what he got from Texas.
Mhm.
Who has a hey Tech Valor, did you do a Nightbot tutorial? I know I saw one recently. It was someone that I know.
And Swartha just posted her next trivia. I'm
Oh, really?
thinking it is March 26th. I mean, not
March.
March, April 26th.
It's April? I thought it was coming up in
Oh yeah, she got enough time to prepare some hard questions. It's gonna be
No, I
based
thought
on.
it was wait a second. I thought it was today. You don't have a
Oh, is that today?
no, this is April 27th. I mean March. You said April.
I
Okay,
think.
my fault. It was someone else. So real quick, is it she said, yeah, trying something new.
Mhm. Yeah, I like the way she did it with the points and stuff, and that gave me an
Okay.
idea.
Oh yeah,
Of,
yeah. It's in April. Okay. All right. Sounds good. So I got time. I'm gonna put it on my calendar. That way I can be there.
I already
Um
put the danger out there to let them know that I'm probably gonna lose anyway, and I want to congratulate Catwoman
yes.
and who
And
the other
Jessica
person
Hicks.
was who won. Oh, and
Jessica Hicks.
Jessica Hicks
Yep.
for stomping
Cool.
me.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
I
right,
talk I
LaShawn.
talk a lot of crap on whenever I'm competing. That's just my competitive spirit.
Hey,
I'm a
that's
I'm a real I get beat all the time, so y'all probably gonna stomp me in these video games, but I'm gonna make it
hey,
seem like
we're gonna have fun. We're
I'm
gonna have
good.
fun. I'm gonna make some. It's funny because Grant S. Really him and Tech Valor and everybody from my squad, they gave really good advice, and um he had looked at my last video and he was like, oh, this tutorial is great, but he was like, to make it feel more real, we need to see like the SD card going into the computer slot, like little things like that. So
Yeah,
I'm excited about
I
it.
could probably
So
be some B-roll.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, some B-roll.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm not gonna hold you guys. We normally keep this to an hour. And Savage, I apologize. Like I said, I'm like, hey Savage, give me like 10 minutes to do eSIM and dual SIM, and we did the whole. It's the top of the hour,
So
as
do
Easy
you?
would say.
So we probably gonna backstage gonna discuss probably alternative names. What you think about a new name?
Oh, we can do that. Yeah, I'm cool.
All right.
Yep,
Because I guess I could go back into my notes. So what
yep.
about coding versus tech?
Ooh, we can do that.
All right.
Yeah. All right, sounds good. So everybody, we might be working on a new name right now when we go backstage. But hey, everybody, thanks for coming. On behalf of Savage, can't thank you enough for being here. You could be anywhere on a Saturday, so thank you so much. So we will see you next week. All right.
Peace out.
So with that, we out.